I remember sitting on the stairs with my dad and her just saying, like, I don't want to die, like, and stuff like that. And then it was like a few days later and I was like, ugh.
And a few days later is when
she passed away. Yeah. So that's definitely like stuck in my brain, like hearing her say that on the phone.
Those are hard memories.
Yeah.
Those are hard moments to like process and move.
Like she wasn't ready. She wasn't prepared.
Welcome to A Place of Yes, a podcast about how I moved through my darkest hour. And for me, that was in channeling my grief into good. Welcome to the show. So welcome to A Place of Yes. I am sitting with Olivia. The last time I saw you, I don't know, was 8-ish years ago, maybe? You were a kid and you were with your grandparents and you were at Jake's Help from Heaven annual Family Fun Day.
Yes.
So your parents, Marty and Greg, have been supporters of Jake's Help from Heaven for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Always could count on them. The other part of that story is that Marty and Greg's daughter, your mother, passed away in 2022. Mm-hmm. And that is sort of what has reconnected you and I.
Yes.
As a listener of the podcast, of which I'm grateful that you listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Can you share with the audience just a little bit about yourself, like what you're doing now and just whatever you want to share?
So I graduated nursing school in December of last year. I started nursing school like 2 years ago. It was probably 2 months after my mom passed away. That was a little bit of a difficult time, but honestly, I love it. And I didn't think I was going to get through it, but I did. That's just what I've been doing, working.
Was nursing always something you wanted to do?
So not necessarily. Like no one in my family is really healthcare except my grandmother, Marty, was a nurse. So that's really the only background I had in it. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I kind of just jumped into it and then ended up really liking it. And I had a great time and I was also transferring schools at the time. So I went to school in Virginia my first year. It was COVID. It was 2020. I didn't have a great time. It was 10 hours away from home. So that was a little bit rough going to school for the first year. But then I came home. I ended up going to Russell Sage.
Okay.
And that worked out perfect for me. It was good because my mom was sick when I first started living in Troy. So
let's go right into it with your mom. And I remember when I heard that she had passed, no one really saw it coming. Like many of us didn't even know that she had been struggling or just, it came so suddenly.
Yeah.
It wasn't as sudden for you guys living it, or was it? Can you tell a little bit? Just she had a rare disease.
So she of the year of 2020, she became sick the day after Mother's Day. So that's in May, right? Yeah. So in May, she got sick that day, went to the hospital, just kind of had like weird symptoms, like symptoms of heart failure, which she was actually in heart failure, but that wasn't what she was so sick from. They didn't know. She had really weird like elevations and different, like her liver enzymes were really off. They weren't really sure. They weren't sure for months. So she was just super like tired all the time, lost a ton of weight, super jaundiced. Her skin was very yellow and like her eyes, and she was just like very sick. Her and my dad were just kind of bouncing all around, like trying to figure out what was going on. Like they were getting different recommendations of places to go, people to see, and no one really knew. So it was.
And you were a freshman in college at this?
I was into my junior year.
Going into your junior year.
Yes.
So you were at Russell Sage already. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had started in September of that year. So yeah, it was only a few months until she passed away. So it was pretty quick. And I don't think anyone really thought she was going to pass away. Like that wasn't really a thought in anyone's mind, like in my family or immediate family. Like no one really was like, oh my God, like she has this timeline. Like it wasn't like she had some diagnosis that we knew it was going to happen. Yeah. Like no one really knew. So it was kind of very sudden. And she was doing well in the hospital. And then the week prior to her passing away, she was doing pretty good. And then something happened, which at that time I wasn't in nursing school. So I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't really have much healthcare background. But now that like being in that field, I'm like, oh, now I understand why she like got like everything went downhill so fast. Yeah, she was supposed to get a liver transplant and then be transferred to a different hospital, and then she passed away that night. So it was very fast, like sudden for everyone, like even in the community, even to us. It was fast.
So it was fast. So what was the name of her disease?
It's called Alpha-1 Antitrypsin Deficiency. So it's like you're deficient in certain liver. I don't really know exactly. It's very rare. It's like a genetic disorder.
So she was born with it and then it just came out, or?
We didn't know though.
Okay. Yeah. So you would never know until.
Right. It wasn't something that like you're born with and they would just know right away. It's like if your parents have certain chromosomes, that happens. So like my dad got tested for it after she passed away and he didn't have any of like the corresponding chromosomes.
Okay.
So my brother and I haven't been tested for it, but I would like to be.
You raised something that I think is really interesting, and you talk, and I think not knowing and then having her pass away quickly. One day you have a mom that is your mom.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about your relationship because you kind of had described at times as like she's your best friend, you know?
Yeah.
So you're not only losing your mom, you're losing your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it coming.
Right. Yeah. So me and my mom were very close. Like I have a little brother, so it's kind of like my dad and my brother had their things and we had our things. Like they loved to ski and we didn't love to ski. So we would do other stuff, and like she was just like a really bubbly, fun person to be around. Like she'd always have people over. Like we'd always have parties at her house. Like her job was she was in sales, so like she was very like personable and comfortable with everyone. So yeah, we were very close. And definitely I think about it sometimes. I'm like, would it have been better if I knew that she had 8 months to live? That kind of thing, or if she had cancer and was gonna have a year or two left. Like, I don't know if that would make it any better for me. I don't know if it's better for them to just abruptly pass away or like have this time where you're like, what am I gonna do for the next 8 months, like to make the most out of this, or to, but
you can get like sucked down that rabbit hole though, right? Sometimes like thinking about it, but I think you're right. Like
she was in the hospital at this time. I think she was at Albany Med, and we had come home and we're staying at home that night, and we like left her there to sleep for the night. And usually someone would stay, but she was there for the night by herself. And my dad came home, just like regroup, and she like called my dad like having a panic attack about being there. She didn't like the hospital.
Yeah.
No one likes the hospital, but
some people really don't.
Yeah, she really didn't like it, and she was like, "I don't want to die." Like I just remember her saying that on the phone. I remember sitting on the stairs with my dad and her just saying, like, "I don't want to die," like and stuff like that. And then it was like a few days later, and I was like, "Oh."
And a few days later is when
she passed away. Yeah. So that's definitely like stuck in my brain, like hearing her say that.
Those are hard memories. Yeah. Those are hard moments to like process and move.
Like she wasn't ready. She wasn't prepared.
So what were those initial symptoms like? Like what was it like? You said like heart failure, and was she in heart failure because of, or was it just like two different things happening at the same time?
I think it was two different things. I wish I knew more in detail about it. It was separate. She was in heart failure, but I'm not quite sure why.
Okay.
So she had the symptoms of heart failure, like edema in her legs, fluid in her. She had fluid in her lungs that she had to get.
So like hard to breathe,
drained out. Yeah, she had to go to the hospital and get drained out as well. This must have exacerbated from the heart failure. From what I believe, it affects your lungs and liver. The Alpha-1, primarily your lungs when you have that, which is like the more common situation, but hers was more liver, so it was less common.
Okay. So what was the timeline? So that was the day after Mother's Day, which we'll get into that because that's a horrible thing to happen around that time anyways.
Yeah. It was the day after Mother's Day, so in May, and then she passed away in October.
Okay, so what's that,
so
5 months?
Like 5-6 months, yeah.
She passed away in 2022?
Mm-hmm.
So this coming October will be 3 years. So, okay. How is your family doing overall?
Well, I still live at home with my dad. And my brother technically, but he goes to college in Pennsylvania, so he's away, 8-9 months out of the year, and he hasn't really come home often. So it's really just us two.
Was your brother still at home when she was sick?
Yeah, he was a senior in high school.
He was a senior.
So he was 17 and I was 20 when she passed away. He doesn't really like to talk about it. We don't really like get into it often, which is okay, and I'm fine with that. I don't try and like make him talk about anything. But so as far as I know, I think he's doing okay. But at the same time, like we don't really talk about it. And we are very close, and we talk about everything else, except I think it's just kind of the elephant in the room. Like
I was going to say, does that make it weird that like you are close and talk about everything, but like this huge thing happened to both of you? And
right. And it's just like, yeah, it is weird. And we were together like the night she passed away, and like we were together going to the hospital every day. Like we did everything together because my dad was just living there essentially. So we did everything together when she was sick, and I would come home from Troy and stay home with him for like a week at a time because he was home alone and my dad was in Albany or in Boston or elsewhere.
You had shared a story, and I kind of want to touch on all of this because there's so much family dynamics during this stuff can be so tough anyways. And you knew she was sick, but you didn't think she was dying.
Right.
It's just such a hard thing because we're conditioned to kind of think people are always going to get better, right?
Right.
Or if they're dying, that they look a certain way at all times, or there's just, or that you would know.
Or they're old
or they're old.
Yeah.
Or like, and even with Jake, honestly, people would say to me all the time, like, oh, you must have known this was coming because he had so many medical challenges, but we didn't, we were keeping him healthy and alive and thriving in his own way. And I didn't see it coming at all. Like the day he died that morning, I had no idea. And I think about the story you said when you had all come home and it was like the one time that your dad came with you and your mom called and she was saying like, I'm scared to die.
Yeah.
What was going through your head? Like
he was sitting on the stairs. I was like standing behind him. I don't really know if he knew that I could hear what she was saying, but she would do that a lot where she would call a lot and like be really anxious by herself. And like she called him and said like, I don't want to die and like I'm not ready and stuff like that.
How did he respond? Was he like just so upset?
He was just like, yeah, I don't even know if he said anything. I think he was just like, do you want me to come back? Like, I'll come back. Yeah. Her passing away so fast makes it, you wish you had the more time. But at the same time, it's like, I wish I went to the hospital more. Or I wish I stayed longer. Or I wish I, I never slept there. I wish I did that. And, like, it makes you, like, think more about life and what you're.
I always wish in life you had, like, 3 do-overs, right? Like, you just could, like, hit the button and be like, I'm taking one of mine now.
Yeah. I know.
We can't, the what ifs can kill you. Like, you just can't let yourself what if.
Right.
But I hear that and I feel that, like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Like, what do you think? Like, you said she didn't want to die. And I think many of us don't want to die, right? But did she fight really hard? Like, did she want to stay here with you guys?
She was in the ICU at Albany Med at this point in October. Because they had went to Mass General in Boston on my birthday, which is in August. So they must have came home and then were home for a little and went back to Albany Med. I'm not quite sure the timeline.
So she was home like she wasn't in the hospital the whole 5 months?
No.
Okay.
She would come back and forth. Like something would happen in the middle of the night and then we'd bring her. Okay. Stuff like that. And then
did she go back to work? Like were there moments of normalcy or no?
No, she was on disability the whole time. Yeah. Okay. Luckily, it was the summer, which was her favorite time of year. So she would just lay by our pool every single day. And she was very tan. So it's a chance I've ever seen her. So she did perks. Yeah. She did get to do something she liked.
How was she like navigating her own like struggle, right? Yes. Like wanting to stay alive, like not wanting to be experiencing this, but also being really, really sick.
A few days before she passed away, she was intubated and sedated. I don't know. Like no one could talk to her. Like she couldn't respond. No one could like.
You weren't getting responses, like
no. And I remember like when she passed away, like me and my brother they essentially told us like she's gonna pass away tonight, so you should come down here. Okay. Like we were at home, my aunts were with us. My dad has 2 sisters. My mom didn't have any siblings. So my dad's 2 sisters were there. They had been staying at the hotel for a while. My one aunt lives in Massachusetts, so she was home for that. And then they were with us at the house, staying with us. And they drove us back down to Albany Med because it was like 1 a.m. Okay. Because they were like, she's not going to make it through the night. Like she was supposed to be transported to a different hospital
for the transplant.
Right.
And would the transplant have changed the course?
Yeah, it would have saved her, I think. Okay. It was too late when they found out. They just didn't know what was wrong. They didn't know she had Alpha-1 until like I think maybe a week before.
A week before she died?
Yeah. Like it was very. Like, they didn't know what was wrong with her for months. Okay. And then I think they did, like, a biopsy on her liver or something. They thought she had cancer, but it wasn't cancer. And then it ended up, someone along the way was like, did you test her for this? And they didn't. And then someone did, and then she had it. And then I think her liver just failed, and then everything else just started. It is, like, hard, like, people are always like, oh, why don't you want to be an ICU nurse? Like, no, I'm not going to say, oh, because my mom died in the ICU. But I'm like, I don't want to be an ICU nurse. I don't want to see people sedated and intubated. And like all my friends from nursing school, like they went into critical care. They went into ICUs, which is like so awesome. It's really cool. Like really, I'm really happy for them, but I'm just like, that is just not for me.
It's too close.
Yeah, I don't want to be anywhere. And I was always nervous in nursing school that we were going to do clinical on the same floor that she was on.
So you did like your clinical and everything at Albany Med?
Yeah.
That must have been hard.
Yeah, we did some of it at St. Peter's, but I was always nervous. I was like, I really don't want to go to. I knew exactly what floor it was. I knew what room she was in. I was going to say, like that room. Luckily, we didn't really go to ICUs a lot in nursing school, so I'm like, I really don't want to go there, and I was really hoping I wouldn't. But I didn't run into that problem, and I wasn't really in any ICU setting, like with any patients that are intubated and sedated like that. I've seen them, but I wasn't really like taking care of anyone like that in nursing school. My first semester of nursing school started the January after she passed away, so like 3 months later, and my professor was one of her nurses.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, did you feel connected or did you feel like exposed?
And I guess the professor, my mom liked her. So it was like the first or second day of school, and I just like felt so weird. I was like, I have to say something to her. So like after class, I just went up to her and I was like, I just want to say like thank you for taking care of my mom. Like she really liked you, and like she knew who I was.
Okay, I was gonna say, so
she knew who I was talking about, and she was like apologized and everything, you know. But she was like really sweet about it. And then I was with her for 2 years. So yeah, but it was kind of like a good little full circle moment. Yeah.
I like those moments, honestly. There's something about those people that are in you, with you, or with the people you love in those very critical, horrible moments. But I feel like that connection is really powerful.
Yeah. And that's what's nice about being in healthcare as well. Like you kind of experience it on the other side of things.
So you're in a profession that by default, you encounter more loss than other professions. How is that when you're still so raw with your own grief? Like,
for some reason, it doesn't bother me. I think everyone always thinks that they're like, I don't understand. Like, even if my mom hadn't passed away, they're like, my friends who are, you know, engineers or teachers, like they have no idea. Like none of my friends from high school are in that profession. So they're like, how do you clean someone after they pass away and like do all that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like it's kind of like most of them, they know that they're gonna like pass away, and they've accepted it. It doesn't really bother me as much as you would think.
So your mom was sedated and intubated. Do you think at the end she knew what was happening?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really knows what, like, if people can hear,
if you're,
or
did you talk to her like through?
We did talk to her, and I remember she was like, tears were falling down her face at the end.
Were.
Yeah, like that night.
So were you with her when she took her last breath?
No.
Okay.
We had left. Me, my brother, and my aunts like walked out, and then my dad, my grandparents stayed until she passed away.
Okay. Like, did you made the decision not to stay, or did you?
I don't think I would have wanted to stay for that. And she looked really, I don't want to say bad, but she didn't look good.
She didn't look like
it wasn't like, I don't think it was very comfortable for us to be in there, which like, I feel like that sounds bad saying it out loud.
No, it doesn't.
But like, she's discolored. Like they don't, like, you're so sick if you're in that situation in the ICU. Like you are very critical, and she was very critical. And there was like nurses surrounding her, like multiple. I remember that. And like doctors in there. Like I remember all that happening and just being like, I don't really want to like sit in here.
You know, and some of those images are just you can't make them go away. I'm so sorry, Liv. Like it's so it's hard. It's hard when we lose the people we love. It's hard when we lose them unexpected. You know, you had this, it's your mom, and in 5 months she was there and then she wasn't. And it just sucks. You know,
it does suck.
It just sucks,
it's
right?
not the way it's supposed to go. Like,
it is
20,
not the way it's supposed to go. You're still supposed to like call her up and be like, hey, guess what happened at work today?
Exactly.
Or whatnot. You know, when something like this happens, right, it changes the course of everything.
Right.
The things that you even take for granted, right? But like it impacts your friendships, your relationships.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
There's 2 places I want to go. I want to talk about like friendships and have you had some friends, or do you have a boyfriend?
Yeah. We're recently dating.
Oh, okay.
So, he didn't know my mom. I had a boyfriend before him months ago, but he also didn't know my mom.
Okay.
So,
is it weird having boyfriends that didn't know your mom?
Yes, it is kind of weird because like I meet their parents, and I'm like, they meet my dad, and that's fine. And my dad's great and very like friendly and like very nice guy, but it's just like, it's not the same. Like my mom would have made it very different.
Made it comfortable.
Impression on them, I think. And I think my dad probably thinks that too. He's like, he probably wishes that she was there to meet them and stuff, and it wasn't just him. But, and that like has been like a little bit of like hard for me with relationships. Like I feel like I put a lot of people before myself, or like people's feelings before my own. So when people haven't like shown up for me or haven't been there on days that I needed them to be, like my mom's birthday or like her anniversary, and they just don't show up for whatever reason, that just kind of, you know.
You hate them.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't.
Like I
don't even know a word to use. I'm just like, I don't even, like it's one day of the year, you know? Like it's
like,
not,
don't
it's not
forget
difficult.
it. Yeah, it's not hard. I'm right there with you. I am so petty. In my 51-year-oldness, like I wasn't always this petty, but now I'm petty. I have I don't write it down, but I have a mental list
of like people that
that December 8th, it's one day. My kid died.
Well, it's December 8th.
Yeah.
That's my brother's birthday.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. So random.
That is random.
Yeah.
And it literally sent me a text with like a heart emoji.
Show up for 5 minutes. Like it wouldn't
like
even
I
matter.
don't even need words sometimes. Like it can be a heart emoji.
Yeah.
It means that Jake entered your mind and you cared enough to remember because you know how big that is. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's all it is. It doesn't even have to be like a phone call or like
don't even have to come to my house. Like you can just, that has been like hard for me, like in relationships and stuff. My friends are really good and they're really good about it and they've like been there through everything. I've had the same friend since I was in elementary school.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, they've been through like it all. But yeah, it's like with people coming into your life and then like you let them into your life, you tell them everything that happened and they think that you think that they would do more than they do sometimes. And it's like upsetting.
How do you tell new people? When do you tell people or how do you tell people and how do you decide when to like disclose?
If it's someone that like I'm just like briefly chatting with, I don't really know that well, I'll just say that if they're like, "Oh, how's your mom feel about that?" I'm like, "Oh, she's whatever." I'll just make it up.
Loves
like
it.
The other day, like I told someone my brother was coming home from college. They're like, "Oh, your mom must be so excited." I'm like, "Yeah, she is." Like I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't like you only know me at surface level. Like I don't need to get into some, or make them feel bad. Cause then they're like, "Oh, like I just said that, and now I feel terrible."
Well, because then it is. It's like sometimes I've done that. I was like, "Oh, my child's dead," Yeah,
and you're like.
Like someone at the grocery store, and I'm like, "Okay, Heather, you didn't need to do that. Like you just totally effed them up for the whole day." Yeah.
But like people that I like have a stronger relationship with, like I will say that. Like I remember on the first date with my current boyfriend, he was like asking me what my parents did for work. And I was like, "Oh, my dad, like, blah, 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 blah." And he's like, "Oh, okay, how about your mom?" I'm like, "Well," and then I was like, "Well, she passed away." And he's like, "Oh," then I felt so bad. I'm like, "I'm sorry. I don't want to lie to you because
I'm dating you. And it'll get awkward in like a month if I'm like, "Oh, by the way, remember what I said?"
Yeah, like she's actually not
You're not going to meet her. Yeah.
So like it depends the situation, but like usually I'll just be like, "She'd pass away, but it's okay." Like you don't have to like say anything. That's usually what I'll say. I'm like, it's okay though.
Have you found people who've really and you talked about your friends that you've known, like do you have a support system where you feel like you've got like when you are just missing her or sad?
My family, like my aunt that lives, both my aunts, my cousin, I'm really close with them and like all my cousins really, but like I have a cousin in New York City and like we talk a lot and there's only 7 of us and we're all very close. They're like awesome. Like they're like my
you've got a little village.
Mothers kind of. It was just I don't want to say that, but like they are kind of like that to me.
They like fill that void a little bit.
Yeah, like I'll like go over to my aunt's if I'm like having a bad day and just talk to her about like whatever. If I'm having like some sort of issue in my life, like I'll just talk to her. Like sometimes it's just easier than to like not easier than to go to my dad, but like it's just like someone different. It's not,
relation. Yeah. So how is your dad doing? I did want to talk about that. When we had talked before, you had talked a little bit about like having to kind of be strong and how long were your parents married? Like
20 years.
So a long time.
Years.
Like
Like and they 20 years. They got married. Yeah, 20 years.
Okay. So they was he heartbroken? Like is he heartbroken?
Yeah. Like the way they met, it's like his best friend was dating my mom's best friend. So they've been like, all together for so long and they were together for so long. I don't think he'll ever be the same, I mean, no one's the same after any sort of situation like that, but he's definitely like very different. He's still like the best dad ever and like there for everything and helps me and my brother with literally anything. He would drop everything to help us, But he's definitely like having a hard time like to this day, which as we all are, but I do feel like very bad for him and I feel like since I'm the only one that lives at home, I'm kind of like I don't want to sound like I'm like annoyed by it. Like it doesn't bother me, but I just feel like it's a lot on like sometimes on me where it's just like we're the only ones home and then like we'll start talking and then it just gets brought up in conversation then he gets upset and sometimes I'm just like don't get upset in front of people and like I just can't like it could be a really sad situation he could be crying or someone could be crying in front of me and I just can't and I'm just sitting there awkwardly and I'm like I talk about this in therapy a lot. I'm like sometimes I just feel awkward and like I don't want to feel awkward like he's my dad and like we're very close and like he's awesome and he's going through this, you know, he lost his wife and that's obviously very hard on him, but sometimes I'm just like, I feel so awkward.
Yeah. Do you think there's a piece of you that is still like still can't believe it, right? Like is still protecting yourself, like still is like, do you think you fully have accepted it? Like
I think now I've fully accepted it, but definitely like I think I kind of disassociated for it the first like 6 months.
That's kind of what I meant. Like, did you like,
Yeah, like when I was like going to therapy, it kind of didn't even like set in. Like I wasn't even like upset for like 6 months. Like I was just like there. And then like all of a sudden I was like, oh my God. Like I just like, it just like hit me one day and I was like, what is going on? Like for some reason it just didn't click in my brain yet. And like we had a lot going on, like people always like coming over and seeing us and stuff. So I feel like that kind of, I don't know if it made me not think about it as much, but and I had like nursing school and whatnot, and then all of a sudden, yeah, one day it just kind of hit me. But I think now I've accepted it. Yeah.
Do you go down that rabbit hole of like the things that she will miss?
Yeah. Ever since I was a child, I've always wanted to be a mom. So it's just like hard for me to think about like me being a mom and her not being there, and like my potential kids not having one of their grandmothers around, and like me getting married and all that stuff. Like we would even talk about that when I was, you know, a teenager and like what that would look like. And you know, and she always talked about how like she wanted to like sell the house and go travel and then get a smaller house in downtown and do all these things. I don't know, I think about that a lot like down the road, and it's like everything that happens or every like monumental moment, it's like you have to think about where they would be in that situation, or like just think about them, like I said, like when I get married, when my brother gets married, I don't know, anything, when my brother turns 21, anything like that. It's like things. It's like you think about it in every situation, which is terrible, but
no, you think of all the big and all the little things, because sometimes I would imagine sometimes it's like the little things are even harder, because of course like she won't be at your wedding, that's a big thing, and that's hard to wrap your head around. But there's like, I think of stupid things just as being like Ethan's mom, like I can't wait till he's 21 and have like the first legal drink with him. You know what I mean? Like those moments will be hard, right? Like the things that you would have done.
Right.
So I'm a huge, like Jake, when I see a cardinal, it's Jake. And when you see a cardinal, it's your mom. I love that.
Yeah.
How did that start?
Well, I think that's kind of like a universal thing.
I didn't even know it at first. Yeah. Like I'm like a wackadoodle who had no idea that this was a thing. And when Jake died, I was like running like a lunatic, like miles and miles a day, just because I didn't know what to do with myself. There was like a stretch of time where I'd be out on these really long runs, like 8, 9, 10 miles. And I'd see these cardinals. And I came home once. This is a legit story. I was like, Brian, this like cardinal is like stalking me. So then we made this thing. We're like, oh, maybe it's Jake, whatever.
Yeah.
Like months later, someone was at church actually and like tapped me on the shoulder and was like, gave me a cardinal. And it was kind of awkward and weird because I was like, okay, hey. She's like, I've been reading, and I had a blog back then. So she was like, I was reading your blog post. I know about the cardinal. Here's a cardinal. And you know that it's like, it's a real sign. Like it is Jake, because dead people come back as cardinals. And I'm like sitting in the pews at St. Clement's and I'm like, what the F is happening to me right now? Like this is, the whole thing is weird. I just didn't even have a clue. So you knew it was a thing.
I did know it was a thing. And I don't think of it as often like that, but like my friends or like people that I'm with, like if we're like on a walk or something, they'll be like, oh, a cardinal just flew by, or we're sitting somewhere and it's like a cardinal right there. Like they'll point it out. So like that is nice.
Do you believe it? Like, do you feel like it's your mom with you? Like,
yeah. Like even the other day I was at my grandparents sitting on their porch with them, and there was one like sitting right there, and my grandfather said something. So like I do feel that way, and I do like seeing them. Like I think it makes me feel better a little bit. But I have like this thing with the word yellow. I think I wrote that.
Yes. So talk about that. Yeah. I think the audience will love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So my mom and I liked Coldplay a lot, like the band, and Taylor Swift, of course, but we don't have any connection there. So we liked Coldplay, and I remember like one day we were I don't remember where we were going, probably shopping somewhere hours away. And we were going somewhere like on a road trip, and we were listening to Coldplay and the song Yellow. We like loved that song. We listened to it like over and over, and we loved that song. So that was always like our song and whatnot. And then on the way home from the hospital the night she passed away, there was a big like 18-wheeler on the highway next to us, and it said Yellow on the back, like in big letters. And I see it, the same truck, like randomly. Yeah, like when I'm driving on the highway, I always see it. Like I don't know how often, but every so often, and like, or I'll see the word yellow, or I'll like, my friends will be at the bar and that song starts playing, like randomly, you know, and it's just like, I always like think of her when I hear that. And
it's hard to explain to people who don't have those things.
Yeah.
like it can make or break me, like, right? Like, cause if
Yeah.
like when it happens, it's so like you're telling that story and I'm so like full body happy for you. Cause it's like, we crave what we will no longer have, right? Like, and it's just, you crave any connection, and to have that connection. Do you feel like sometimes you see something when you really need it?
I haven't noticed that yet.
Okay.
It does, like, make me upset when the song like, when I hear the song or I hear, like, a Coldplay song, but, like, seeing the signs doesn't make me upset, but just, like, the song for some reason. But it is nice to have something like that.
It's all we've got.
Right, exactly.
There were a few things that you've said that that have stood with me a little bit. One is kind of about like your current life, and then one is kind of like about your mom. But I think about how you talked about like friendships and relationships, and the people who've known forever just kind of know what to do. And I feel that, right? Like and not just around grief or whatever, but there's almost like just an easiness with people who've known you your whole life, like since you were little, and that friendship and just the ability to be yourself. But then there's other people who are still good friends and can really be important parts of your life, but it's just not quite the same. What advice would you give to people? Like what do you to be there for someone like you, or even someone like me, like for someone who is struggling, like what advice like would you give to someone? Like what would be a takeaway of like,
I think, like, you just need someone that's there, and it doesn't have to be, like, them bringing you anything or, like, getting you flowers or, like, a gift on, like, the anniversary. It could just be someone that's, like, there all the time through everything that's not just someone who passed away, you know? Like, some of my friends, they come around, they'll text me, like, on Mother's Day, or they'll text me on the anniversary, but, like, I don't see them that much.
Yeah.
So it's, like, that's nice. It's having those people that just, like, think about you on those days and, like, even just send a text if they're miles away.
Yeah.
But there's also people that I think just feel awkward and don't know what to say, which is also fine. I wouldn't really know what to say either, and people always ask me, like, should I be saying I'm sorry? Should I be saying, like, how are you? And I'm like, I mean, I don't really know what to say either. I'm like, I feel like when people say I'm sorry, I'm like, thank you. Like, I don't know what to say sometimes, you know? But it is awkward in, like, every situation. But yeah, I think just having those friends that are just there through it all, like, every step of the way, like, no matter what, and they're just present. Doesn't have
just
to be anything crazy.
No, and I mean, I think that's the takeaway, right? Like be
Yeah.
present, like be there, and you don't say something because you feel like you have to say it, but just be there, like make your presence
Right,
known.
and, like, come to the events. Like, every year we do a cocktail party for her on, like, the day that she passed away or, like, the weekend after. So it's just, like, showing up to that or just, like, being there for an hour, it doesn't even matter, like, just stuff like that, like, making the effort to be there.
Sometimes I think we overthink it a lot too, right? Like,
Mhm.
because yes, there's things that people might say that piss us off. There's things that don't hit right. If we just assume that people are trying their best, right? Like, so maybe someone says, I'm sorry. And then you're kind of like, oh, okay, thank you. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's a weird
It's okay, like,
exchange.
it's not, but
Yeah, like
yeah.
it's a weird exchange, but I sometimes rather have people if they're saying they're sorry because they don't know what else to say, but they're trying to show up for you,
Mhm.
that's different than, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and, like, some of, like, even my closest friends, like, I don't even think they've ever said that to me. Like,
Yeah.
they obviously are like, "I'm here for you on this day, like, if you wanna do anything, let me know," or, like, the other day, like, posted a picture of, like, my parents on my
I
story.
saw that,
Yeah,
yeah.
and, like, one of my best friends stood up and was like, "You look just like your mom in this," and I literally just started crying. Like, that made me, like, feel, like, happy and, like, sad at the same time, but it's,
Yep.
like, stuff like that where it doesn't have to be, like,
It's not formal, it's just showing
just
up.
like, "You look just like your mom in this," and, like, that just, like,
Do you
made
love that?
yeah. Like, that was nice, where it's, like, other people are just, like, you know.
Ignore it or
Right.
yeah. I love how you said it, like, just show up, just be present, like,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be a big,
Could be, like, a
extensive,
text,
formal
like we
thing.
said
Yeah,
earlier, like, doesn't have to be any, you
but show
know.
up. So then the last thing is, we talk about this podcast, right? It's like a place of yes, and
Mhm.
our whole thing is, like, what do we do with our grief, right? Like,
Mhm.
you can sit in it, you can stew in it, you can be sad all day and not get out of
Mhm.
bed, or you can figure out how to, like, channel it.
Mhm.
And, I think you working as a nurse, working in healthcare, I think some
Mhm.
of that, whether it's directly connected or not, there's some connection there.
Yeah.
What would you say about, like, do you feel like you're trying to come from, I mean, totally being corny, but like a place of yes, like, are you trying to, I just went there.
I think I've been trying, like, I've been working with my therapist about this. I'm like, I wish I had something that I could do more often. Like, I wish I had something that I did on Mother's Day that I could, like, like an
Like a
activity or
ritual or
something. Yeah,
yeah.
like something that I do every year. Like we did a cocktail party for her, like, anniversary, and, like, all my tattoos are for her.
Well, I'm glad you
Yeah.
said that. I wanted to ask you about your tattoos.
Yeah, so they're all of them besides one are for her. So I only have 5, but that is, like, a way I kind of did it, and I liked that I turned it into that because, like, my dad was kind of like, oh, you're going to get tattoos? Like, we're not a big tattoo family. I'm like, well, it's for a good reason. He's like, all right. But yeah, I love my tattoos.
I have tattoos all over that are all Jake. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I love tattoos, and like, it's nice when people ask you, like, they're like, what's the R for? Like, my name's Olivia. Like, people are like,
yeah,
what?
They're going to say, yeah.
Yeah. Or like, my Starbucks pickup name is Rachel.
Is it?
Yeah. So
I love that.
So, or like anywhere, like Dunkin', like when I pick something up, it says like Rachel instead of my name. So like, so I do like little things like that, but I wish I had something like big I could do every year. I've been thinking about it, but I don't know. I haven't come up with it yet, but it'll come to me one day.
It totally will. And those are great ways. Like, that's keeping her name, like people saying her name, it's keeping it present. It's making it puts a smile on your face when you go get the coffee. I actually love that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I actually saw another girl. She's like a influencer in that realm. She like doesn't even live here, but her mom passed away when she was in nursing school, and she's also a nurse, and she did that. So I was like, oh, that is so smart. I'm going to start doing that.
I love that.
Then, yeah, I started doing that, and I like that. I did that.
Sometimes they don't have to be these big grandiose gestures, right? Like, they're just these little ways of like keeping our people like in our circle, like keeping them with us.
Yeah.
So if anybody listening to our episode is kind of in your shoes, right? Like just going through it, having lost someone important, do you have any advice?
I think the best advice I would give is that, like, you will be okay, and like, you will get through it. It seems like in the moment, like, you know, it's the end of the world. Like, you don't, like, what are you going to do? How are you going to move forward? How are you going to live your life without your mom? Like, especially if you're younger and, you know, your mom's supposed to be there for all these important moments. It's like, what do you do? Like, how do you move forward? But you get through it, and you do. And it seems like you won't, but you do. There's the light at the end of the tunnel. Like we said, like finding things to remember them by, and, you know, include them in, like have their presence and stuff, like the cardinal and stuff like that. Like, you'll find stuff to
find connections.
Yeah, connections.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being on the show, Liv. It's been so nice having this conversation. Thank you for listening to A Place of Yes. Please follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you really like this episode, please share it with a friend. It would make a world of difference if we could just reach more people and share the work that we do and the stories we want to tell. Thank you so much for watching.